What up, world? Welcome to lesson number 5. Woo! All right. Let me get back behind the kit. Yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited to be with you today. I feel like Mr. Rogers today for some reason. I wonder if it's this turtleneck. Anyways, yes, indeed. Welcome. This is lesson number 5 of the first trimester in 2025. This is something that we do every single week, hosted right here on the NGO Radio Terra YouTube channel. I'm here every Wednesday at 4 o'clock streaming live, and this is real lessons for all ages and all levels, provided to you by some of the best musicians in Brazil and all over the world. And we're bringing this awesome educational platform everywhere via the internet so that people can grow as musicians with us right here from the very own comfort of their home or studio. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about pocket time, how to strengthen your inner clock, and just some philosophy that I've learned over the years regarding playing with the click track and just maintaining good, even, natural time. So that's our whole thing. The drummer's job is to be the timekeeper for the group. The drummer's job is to hold down that rhythm so that everybody else can get their part off. And everything else comes after that. Fills, chops, modulations, you name it, all that stuff comes after the groove is so well established that you can actually deviate away from it. I like to warm up with a little bit of groove, and then I'll talk a little bit about my experience after I play. What I'm paying attention to right now is the space between each note. And this is something that one of my favorite drummers of all time, Steve Jordan, talks about in his documentary called The Groove Is Here. And in The Groove Is Here, he demonstrates this very fact, that when you allow for the air or for the space between the notes to speak, that's when you start to understand what the pocket is. So that's when you start to define your time. So, James Brown vibes. Also, I just realized, let me fix something, guys. organic time. Organic time. So there's something meditative about this process. Anybody that's had experience in meditation knows that when you allow your brain to be mindful of itself, your brain all of a sudden watches all the thoughts that come in and out. And in the process of meditation, we realize that we're very much in the zone, and then all of a sudden thoughts come in our brain and wipe out that zone. And it's our duty to continue to refresh that mental space and continue to be mindful. So back to the groove, if I'm ever feeling like I'm stopping paying attention, I need to refocus my energy and continue to listen to myself. Now, this brings me to another aspect of creating good natural time, which is listening exactly to how you sound. And that doesn't just mean, do I sound loud? Do I sound soft? Do I sound great? Do I sound horrible? No, it means, can you hear the beginning and the end of every single beat? So, right? The attack was the beginning and the silence is the end. So let's try it on another drum. So the process is just me listening to when I start the beat and then listening to the final decay and then repeating that, recreating that same exact duration of time, and then that leads to an organic sense of perfect time. Perfect being relative. But the great Roy Haynes would always say, listen, he's not here to be your metronome, and I'm paraphrasing him, but rather he's here to keep the rhythm even on the front side and even on the back side, so that everything is the same and it doesn't go like this or it doesn't go like that. Like it stays around here in terms of being even. So let's try that. Let's listen to ourselves. Let's listen to the beginning and the ending of a phrase so that we can know what it's like to be even in our time feel. So let's listen to the beginning and the end. I want you to also be able to look at this piece of information that I wrote up for you guys so that you can see what it is I'm talking about here. So just check this out. As you can see at the very bottom, under number 3, this is where it talks about this phenomenon of being able to listen to the beginning and the end of your note And then by recreating that, you create perfect time in a sense. So just wanted you to be able to look at that as I continue to play. So here we go. Right? So obviously, when I listen back to this tape, I'll listen to myself and I'll determine whether or not I really feel like that was as locked as I'd like it to be. But the key point is that I'm doing my best to create this time feel solely based on listening to the beginning and the ending of my ride cymbal, right? I was listening to recreating the same exact timing. Right? So I'm just really listening so deeply, and that's a great exercise no matter what you're doing. Also, taping ourselves doing all of this is always suggested. So definitely get into the habit of filming yourself so that you can know what you sound like. And that goes for anything in life. Being self-aware is so, so important because it allows us to determine how to talk to people, how to play for people, how to accompany people, and how to serve the music the best. So let's zoom back out. Playing great time and having good pocket means that we need to, on a macro level, just be able to keep the time even from the beginning of the song to the end of the song. On a micro level, we need to learn how to play in the same place of every single beat throughout the length of the song. Now, that's not always required, necessary, or even appreciated. But what I will say is that knowing how to make it consistent is the key to getting good pocket. And knowing how to play with a metronome will get us there. All right? So, or it may not get us there, but it will absolutely train our brain and train our body to be more consistent. So, I'm going to just work on playing in the center of the beat. This is a micro approach to time playing. Right? So that's playing in the very center of that beat. Playing behind the beat now gives us a different feeling, and it gives us another understanding of our observation of what the, let me say that in a simpler way. Playing in different parts of the beat lets us understand what it really feels like to lock in the center. So that was in the center. Now let me play behind the beat and feel the difference. Right? As opposed to that's the center, this is behind. All right, and then there's being able to play ahead of the beat, and that sounds like this. Okay, and so let's put that into a groove. Playing in the center of the beat. Cool. Now let's play behind the beat. Right? So you can really hear the difference between where the metronome says that the time is versus where I'm putting it. Now, let's play ahead of the beat. So yeah, that's sort of what it is it's continuing to feel exactly where the time is while placing it somewhere else. And then, of course, that gives us a way back to feeling how good it feels to play in the center of the beat again. As opposed to playing behind the beat. Right? Or ahead of the beat. Okay, right? And now we're back to the center of the beat again. So play around with that. Or we can make the right hand behind the beat. As opposed to right? That's playing in the center of the beat. My right hand and my right foot and my left hand are all in the center of the beat. And now, if I take my right hand and make it behind the beat, it feels like this. Center of the beat. Behind the beat. And that one right there is sort of giving that J Dilla slump to it. And I think it's really cool to be able to change how your pocket feels based on knowing, are we playing behind the beat, ahead of the beat, in the center of the beat? Is just one limb lagging behind like that? In which case it'll completely change your feel, and that's super cool. So let's see here. Where are we at now? So feel as it relates to time, which is practice playing with a click, practice playing in the center of the beat, practice playing behind the beat so you can see what the center of the beat really feels like, practice playing ahead of the beat so you can see what the center of the beat really feels like. Next, this is a really good way of being able to increase your ability to play good even time. This will help you know whether or not you speed up or slow down when you go to halftime, double time, or a triplet version of time. So I like to just play a set of rudiments that go through subdivisions at a click tempo, or excuse me, with a click at a good tempo, and see what that reveals about our time playing. So for example, so what you're seeing here is me playing quarter notes or half notes, quarter note triplet, or a half note triplet rather. So these three can help you determine whether or not you speed up or slow down. Right? So obviously you can take that as far as you want to take it. But just in a nutshell, that can really, really show you how your time moves when you make those changes. Let's add some fills. That also determines and can show us what our time does when we make changes. And y'all remember the funky drummer from, I believe, one or two lessons ago. I talked about some of my favorite hip hop breaks. This is one of them. Let's play it to the click. So just to show you that when you do take the click out, technically you should be still at the same tempo when you bring the click back in. And that is one of the techniques that I use when I practice, which is to take the clicks away so that you can start to strengthen those spaces in time where there is no click. Your body just feels it. Okay? One of the best ways that we can do that is having a metronome that takes beats out for you randomly, or setting us up at a really, really slow tempo and then subdividing ahead. So like this. This is 100 BPM. So you could interpret this as quarter notes at 40 BPM, or you could interpret this as one quarter note every half note. Or one, you could do this if you counted it like this. That's one click every full bar, actually, right? And so the goal here is for us to be able to give some more space between each beat to strengthen our own inner clock. So as you can see, to really sit on a tempo that slow does take some effort and take some practice. And I want to continue to practice that because, as you can hear, sometimes I would flam up against the actual downbeat. And I'm able to forgive that of myself because I know that when I'm playing, it feels good to the other musicians, or at least that's my goal, is to make it feel good. And very few times are musicians going, "Oh my God, your bass drum hit a little bit early on the 17th quarter note downbeat of the first bar," whatever. No one's thinking like that. So we just want to be aware that these kinds of tempos can be a challenge for our time playing, and we want to make it so that it's a breeze, so that it's super easy. Okay? We can play at the fastest particular metronome marking. this isn't the maybe necessarily the fastest metronome marking, but this is a pretty fast one. Now let's take it a little faster. Okay, that's the fastest it goes. So the metronome can be subdivided in half, and then you can play twice as fast as that if you want. But the purpose is just to get used to playing at different tempos. And when we do that, we start to see what we need to work on. I do want to encourage you to get a metronome setting that can actually take beats away so that you can feel what it feels like to maybe play for 18 bars, 24 bars without hearing an actual click. That can really help you strengthen your internal clock. Let's recap. Other ways to strengthen your internal clock are listening to the beginning and the end of every single note and then recreating that in a groove to create really fantastic natural time, right? And that sounds like this, right? Listening to the beginning and the end and then creating a groove out of that. So something that decays. I forgot one more crucial tip for you guys, which is singing melodies. When you sing melodies while you're playing, it can do the same thing as listening to the beginning and the end of your actual sound. So if you sing a popular melody that you really know well, it can mean that your groove will feel nice and even at the beginning of the song and at the end of the song, but only if you're really singing that melody throughout the entire piece, so that that melodic phrasing and the space between each notes follows you throughout the entire performance. It has to follow you, or else those spaces between the notes will change, and then that means that the tempo is changing. Okay? But we can be aware of, we can make that happen. We can make the tempo stay the same while we sing the melody in our heads. And that's going to give us a nice organic time feel, right? That's not playing with the click track or a metronome. That's using the melody as the click track or the metronome. So something to just be aware of. And yeah, I think this has been a super good lesson, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Looks like we've gone overtime a little bit. So again, this is about strengthening our inner clock. This is about how to focus, what we should be focusing on, right, with our time. The macro sensibility of it all, which is having our time be even at the beginning of the song and even at the end of the song. Have that be the same tempo. Then there's the micro of it all, which is playing in the center, behind or ahead of each beat consistently the same way every beat. And that also affects our macro feel. Then there's changing your feel as it relates to time by playing in the center of the beat, playing behind the beat, playing ahead of the beat. There's practicing modulating time, which is going through the motions of playing whole notes, half notes, half note triplet, quarter note triplet, eighth note triplet, 16th note triplet, all the way up and down, and all the way up and down while you're playing something in your feet. And you'll notice if you go to double time, or if you go to half time, or if you play a triplet, that you tend to speed up or you tend to slow down. That's what will get revealed to you when you do that. Then there's the metronome play, which is putting on a metronome, playing in the center of each beat, playing behind each beat, playing ahead of each beat with a groove, maybe taking one hand and making it go behind the beat like I showed you, right? Like this. As opposed to this, right? So there's that. There's putting a metronome setting on so that it just hits randomly, which will strengthen your inner clock because you have to keep it consistent through all that space. And then there's playing with a melody in your head. And then there's finally, with no click, there's a way that you can do that, keeping the time even, by listening to the beginning and the end of every note that you play and recreating that same space over and over again until you develop a really nice, natural, perfect groove. And then finally, make sure that you tape everything that you do so that you can monitor your progress and listen to how you actually sound. And I can't stress that enough. And I know that it's annoying to listen to how you sound. Nobody likes to listen to their voice. Nobody likes to hear how they sound because it reveals all the idiosyncrasies. But this is how we get stronger, and this is how we become better musicians. We have to know how we sound or how we speak and how we come across so that we can better tailor the experience of the other. So this is Matt Vorsmer, Ecussionist, tuning in from North Carolina for free lessons for all ages and all levels, right here hosted on NGO Radio Terra's YouTube channel. I'm here every Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Thanks for hanging with me. Big shout out to our sponsors, Proel Corporation, Icon Microphones, Tamboro Drums, and Roland Corporation. We love you guys. We appreciate the support, and we'll be back next Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Thanks so much, NGO Radio Terra. We'll see you soon.